Hello. Hmm. I wanted to reflect on my experience yesterday, the Caltech Alumni Weekend reunion for 10 years, class of 2012. I specifically only attended the Blacker House event, the Associates Tea. Normally this has been scheduled in May, but the Alumni Association moved it to October. I felt like it wasn't communicated very well, and as a result, only a handful of my classmates attended. And that's okay. Really, it was just that feeling that I have when I return to that place that's so near and dear to me. But it also brings out just a lot of complicated feelings. Now, when I first arrived, I noticed that the setup was very different from what I remember. Normally, the dining tables are kept in the dining hall, and the yearbooks are there. The courtyard is left as an open space for people to mingle. This time around, though, I entered the courtyard, and it was already full of tables. People were sitting at them. I noticed a few familiar faces here and there, and I said hi. I wasn't really sure where to go or what to do, and after a while of sitting at a table that I picked, I remembered how socially awkward techers are, and it's pretty palpable how difficult it is for people to really connect and network sometimes. So I was not in a very great vibrational state, I would say, and a large part of that was due to this inferiority complex that I have. I think that in general, I put techers on a pedestal because, let's face it, they are some of the smartest people in the whole world. And to think that I am one of their peers is a lot. It really gives me imposter syndrome sometimes. And it turns out that the reason that they set up everything this way is because COVID has really threatened a lot of this tribal knowledge. Some of these seniors, juniors, they had never experienced a proper Blacker House dinner. And so this was a first for them. It was. And when the bell rang, the president sat on the chair, took announcements. They asked for alumni to share stories, if there were any. Nobody did. I certainly didn't. I was feeling really nervous, What stories do I have that people would share, that the people would value hearing? And I had just come from visiting my uncle and aunt, and I was getting stories from them that were giving me a lot to think about in terms of my own personal journey through life. Plus, in terms of my career trajectory, it's been a lot non-linear. I've been moving from one thing to another thing to another thing. And in a lot of ways, I kind of feel like my life hasn't really measured up to some of my peers. And I have to remind myself that that's not necessarily the case. Everybody's path in life is different. And just because some people are doing certain things doesn't mean that I have to feel bad about not doing those things. So I keep going back to this event in my mind, in my imagination, thinking, what would I have done differently if I was in a different vibrational state, if I had a better awareness? And I honestly do feel like I kind of wish I could do it again and just open up my heart and share with everybody, because maybe like my Pope sermons, they're very hit or miss. Some people took some meaning out of them, and others, I just wasted their time. And I'm okay with that. So maybe I would have been okay with just unloading, sharing how I have this inferiority complex, this imposter syndrome, how I feel like I'm not at the same caliber as some of these people. And one of my coping mechanisms is humor, specifically sarcasm and self-deprecation. And I want to say it's kind of a mix of taking smart humor and dumb humor and putting them together. And so you have, when I make jokes in this environment, sometimes I'm talking about smart stuff, but I sound stupid. Sometimes I'm talking about stupid stuff, but I sound smart. And yeah, that's just kind of how I deal with that feeling of being surrounded by geniuses and feeling like I can't compare to them. Something that I thought was really important for me, but I didn't realize the importance of it, was my upbringing in the Hindu spiritual tradition, studying the Bhagavad Gita with my dad when I was growing up. The lessons stuck with me in some ways that were not very obvious or apparent. And yeah, I find that maybe my story is valuable to people because I didn't do a very traditional career path. I think for a lot of techers, the typical route is you do Caltech for a few years, you go to grad school, you go for a PhD, you get a doctorate, then you become a professor after a postdoc or two. Or you go into industry, you make bank because you have the right skill set, the right problem solving that people look for. And my experience is different from a lot of folks because I didn't work at a Fortune 500 company. I didn't work in big tech. I moved around, and one of the main reasons for me moving around was the work environments that I put myself in. So my first job, I was at a solar startup because I wanted to do R&D, specifically devices. I thought fabrication was really interesting and I wanted to learn more, get better at it, try working with new materials. I worked with organic solar cells, which, they're pretty novel. Eventually I got sick of it, partly because it didn't feel like my career was really going anywhere. The company wasn't really going anywhere. And I wanted to learn more. It was also a toxic environment. In some ways, literally, because, chemicals. But I didn't feel like there was a lot of appreciation from management. I didn't feel appreciated, certainly, not with the amount that they were paying me and the work that they were expecting from me. And when I went to grad school, I experienced academic hazing, another toxic environment where, underpaid, underappreciated, and thinking, is it really worth it to go through this process? Do I really want to spend my life as a researcher? I love research. I love learning, putting together information from multiple sources and connecting with people, sharing knowledge with one another. And I'd love to go back in some capacity, but I don't necessarily want to be a researcher. I do think at this time, I'm kind of more looking towards management. The way I see it, there are a lot of smart people out there, and they're not able to accomplish what they want to do on their own. They need support. And I think that in my career, I aim to be in a support role where I can help people really utilize their skills and experience and help them build things that are incredible. And along the way, I've learned to appreciate a lot, to appreciate so many things, so many people and places and ideas from different walks of life, different traditions, different paradigms. Yeah. If I were to come up with a sermon on the spot, this is basically what it would sound like. Just me speaking from the heart, unplanned. Knowing what I know now, things that I would have done differently. Probably would have taken my time, slowed my pace down, not try to graduate quickly, try to appreciate everything around me. Take a geology class, learn more about the earth, systems, how things work on a fundamental level. And I think that my education in physics has really helped me understand spirituality a lot more. I still have a lot to learn, of course, but I feel like I have a very good foundational understanding, not of just the material universe, but also the metaphysical universe. A lot of these ideas from quantum physics are translatable into metaphysics. For example, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. I can tell you that I know exactly where I am right now. What does that mean, though? It means I have no idea where I'm going. And that's okay. I think it's important to understand that we don't have all the information. It's impossible to have all the information. The Hamiltonians, they're not always commutable. If someone knows exactly where they're going, maybe they don't know where they are at this moment. Life is a mystery. And we're all players in it, in this Leela, this divine play. What would the more important chewy takeaways be? Public speaking is hard. A lot of people are scared of it. I find that I have to be in the right mindset, a performer's mindset, in order for it to really work. And I'm performing right now to my phone, to my audience, which, I don't know, maybe I'll upload this and people can comment, like, subscribe it. I guess one concept from physics that I found to be very helpful is the duality of opposites and how it just doesn't work. And I'm about to just hop on a call real quick, but I'm still going to be recording because I'm not really done with... Oh wait, I have another half hour. Oh, awesome. Okay, never mind. Yeah. It's always great to reconnect with people, see familiar faces, see who else is in the area. Maybe I'll invite some people for coffee. Now that COVID is over, things are picking up again, and yeah. I'm not close to lots of people. That's okay. I don't need to be close to them. I still love them, each and every one of them, and I was really happy seeing a lot of familiar faces, and I'd say that feeling trumps the feeling of inadequacy. I find that I underestimate sometimes how much I've learned over the past 10 years. And part of it does come from this comparison game. That little voice inside that says, I'm not enough. It's hard to make that voice shut up. In some ways, that voice is a protective force because it keeps me from letting my life just slip off the tracks completely, rather than allowing me to follow one track for a while, switch tracks and enjoy this dance that I'm in. Caltech is hard. It's a hard school. It's a hard place. And a feeling that I have is that, actually, this is a thought. I'm still learning the difference between thoughts and feelings. College is kind of wasted on the young. And I say that because people are young adults figuring things out for the first time. And in this environment, throwing some of the most difficult science and math concepts at them, telling them to figure it out. It's very challenging. And I'm not really surprised, in a way, to see that even over 10 years out, people are still struggling at socializing. It's hard. I noticed that a lot of techers, their social circles remain largely techers after they graduate. Mine, not so much. There's just a handful of people that I still talk to regularly. A lot of my friends come from outside of tech. They have a different perspective, different things to teach me, different things I can learn from them. Improvised sermons often have a lot of, redundancy and tautology sometimes, I guess. Kip Thorne was there. That was great. Kip Thorne. It's been a while since I saw him, and he's old. But, I want to say that despite everybody really idolizing him as a physicist for his accomplishments in the field of general relativity and gravity, LIGO, he has done amazing work throughout his life. But to me personally, what sticks out to me is that he is such a genuinely nice, sweet man. And I remember one time I was sitting at his table, frost year. I was lucky enough to be sitting at Kip Thorne's table for Asstea, or for formal dinner. It was formal dinner. And, he is so... I can easily imagine somebody with his renown having a massive ego, but he doesn't. He was starting a conversation with Medea, who was an international student from Pakistan, and she was very quiet, and I think a lot of that was the language barrier, being in an unfamiliar place with, honestly, some pretty rowdy individuals in Blacker House. And I just remember him opening up a conversation with her with curiosity, learning more about her, and I could see that she felt appreciated in that moment, or seen at least. And I don't remember if she was a physics major. I think she might have been. She was a sweetheart. I wasn't too close to her. I didn't know her very well, but I know that she was very, very nice person, genuine. And that interaction just was one of those things that just left me thinking, man, Kip Thorne's a really nice man. And another one is Bill Bing, one of the nicest people I've ever met. And these people are heroes to me, because it's not about what they've achieved, but it's about who they are. And, you could meet one of these people on the street, talk to them, and you would have no idea all the things that they've accomplished in their life. And it's not that their accomplishments aren't important. They're very meaningful. It's just the sense that there is something more important, more meaningful than what somebody has done and what somebody's doing. The difference between doing and being and becoming. Life is a roller coaster, and we just have to enjoy the ride. Some of my darkest moments come from Caltech. A lot of depression, a lot of anxiety and stress, feeling overwhelmed. And a lot of the best moments in my life come from there. This feeling of being in a tribe of geniuses who are dangerous and sometimes really bitter, sometimes really damaged. Advice that I would give to Frosh, apart from what I already said about taking things slowly and just enjoying the ride, opening the mind up to new ideas, different traditions, different spiritual paths. I think that's all important. Freeing oneself from the duality of opposites. Just like how there's a spin-up state and a spin-down state, but really, what are they but an arbitrary classification of two things that happen to be opposites? But, change the sign, look at it from a different angle, the up is now down and the down is now up. So that's what I mean by duality of opposites. Really, there's an underlying unity. However, you can't build a universe that's entirely bosons. It's just not possible. Our universe, the one that we're in, is clearly a mix of fermions and bosons. And whenever you have fermions, you have this duality. Understanding that, knowing that happiness and sadness, success and failure, they're all part of the universe. And the universe is all one. How does that help? Well, in some ways it is liberating. Spiritual freedom comes from renunciation. And one of the things that we must renounce is attachment to this duality of opposites. If we can let go of feeling superior and inferior, adequate and inadequate, then we can really move forward on our paths. What drives us as individuals? What is it that makes us tick? For a lot of us, it's curiosity. For a lot of us, it's pleasure. For a lot of us, it's pursuit. For some of us, it's power. And we can renounce all of these things and find peace. But we don't have to, because we're in this universe. Something my uncle said that stuck with me yesterday is, live your life to the best of your ability with what you're given. And enjoy everything you're doing, even if it's not pleasant. If I could redo my college years with the wisdom that I have now, 10 years out, of course, I would have done better. Probably better academically, but also better psychologically, better socially. I'm kind of a perfectionist in a lot of ways, which I know sounds kind of weird. What kind of perfectionist goes on a non-linear career path? But I do. And I know there are more people out there like me, maybe even at Blacker House. And so I feel like, would they have benefited from hearing me spill my heart about all this stuff? Possibly. Anyways, yeah. I guess that's all I really wanted to share. Thanks for watching, if you've watched this. I love you. Yeah.